Well, this early into the Dynasty offseason, I like to kind of lay my claim, plant my flag on 5 sleepers, my guys that I'm kind of obsessed with in an upcoming class. For example, last year I had this video. We talked about Jalen McMillan. We talked about Jalen Wright. We talked about Ray Davis. And in today's video, I'm talking about 5 sleepers I love for 2025 rookie draft. Starting off with, why is no one talking about this guy, man? What am I missing? Brashard Smith, running back out of SMU. Now, let's learn a little bit more about Brashard here, okay? So a former 4-star recruit as a wide receiver. Now, he played wide receiver for 3 years at the University of Miami, and then last year transferred to SMU to play the running back position. What running back did that last year that we were obsessed with? I'll let you think on that one. But he's 5'10", 196 pounds. Now, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, there'd be a good case to make against these players. But today's NFL has completely changed. I believe that there is something special about Brashard Smith out of SMU. Here's what I'll say. If you turn on his film, something you'll notice straight away is the burst from Brashard Smith. He has special, unique, I would even go out on a limb and say elite burst at the running back position. I've said this in previous videos, but have you guys ever been in a Tesla and, the first time you ever drove in a Tesla or you were riding in a Tesla, did someone smash the foot down to the floor and you just went like you're almost on a roller coaster? That's the type of burst you see when you watch Brashard Smith for the first time. He goes 0 to 60 in a split second. It's kind of shocking how quick it is. Extremely versatile given his wide receiver background. SMU this year, they moved him all over the field, in the slot, out wide, into rounds, wild cards. He was Wildcat, sorry. He was really, really fun to watch. I mean, I think that you could have NFL offensive coordinators dreaming up ways to utilize this guy. In my humble opinion, this is the best pass catcher in the entire class as a running back. Not even close. I mean, it makes sense because he used to play the wide receiver position. He actually has the best PFF receiving grade of any running back in this class at a 91.9 grade. And as far as a rusher, he's a very good rusher, especially for just transitioning to the position. Very fluid in between the tackles, specifically navigating the offensive line kind of into that second level of the field. Great mind to feet meld. He knows what he wants to do with his mind, and his feet and his athleticism allows him to execute it. Really impressive analytics. 8th best run grade, 6.5 yards per attempt, decent yards after contact per attempt, great missed tackles force number, breakaway percentage at 50%. And these stats are only up to week 12 anyway, because we haven't updated them all just yet. But I mean, he had over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, over 200 receiving yards in the air, 14 total touchdowns altogether. He's had a very solid season at SMU and helped this team get to the college football playoffs. If we're talking pro comms, to me, I see some Tyrone Tracy, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. I see some James Cook, undersized guy, but, really dynamic at the position. I see some Tony Pollard and, at minimum, Nyheim Hines as a floor. Now, currently, his projected draft capital, he's projected to be an undrafted free agent. I think that's ridiculous. There's no way this guy goes undrafted. Let's kind of wait and see how this progresses over the next 3 or 4 months. But I think he has a chance to be a 3rd or a 4th round pick. I think that's a realistic possibility for Brashard Smith. All right, moving on. Let's talk about one of my favorite wide receiver sleepers in this class. Actually, my 4th overall wide receiver in the class. Again, I don't know why people aren't talking about him. Jalen Royals. Let me tell you a little something about Jalen Royals. 6 foot, 205 pounds. Now, he actually started at Georgia Military College, and then he transferred to Utah State, redshirted in 2022. And he's been a great player for Utah State pretty much since he got into that action. Now, unfortunately, he suffered a foot injury in week 8, and he hasn't played since then. So his stats aren't going to blow you away, right? He has 55 catches, 839 yards, 6 touchdowns. But think about it. He did that in 8 games. That should be very impressive. At least for me, it's very, very impressive. But we're talking about a dynamic, versatile, big body, route running yak threat. There are so many reasons to be in on this player. In my humble opinion, if he played at a bigger school, we'd all know about him. We'd all talk about him as a potential 1st round pick. If this was a Ohio State guy, Alabama, I mean, we would all be in love with him at this point. It's because he's at a smaller school. But PFF receiving grade was pretty good. 3.0 yards per route run, which was 14th best in the nation. Ridiculous yak threat like we talked about. And Utah State knew that. You can see on film, they consistently designed ways to get the ball in his hands after the catch. He had a very low ADOT at 9.4, 180th in the nation, and a very high yak per reception at 7.9, which was 11th best in the nation. Great body control, one-on-one ball winner, legit versatility, great baseline as a route runner. Kind of what I was talking about with Brian Thomas coming out of LSU last year. There was still some work for him to do with his release package, but a lot of that natural gift, athletic ability, twitchiness is already there. Great manipulation, ton of physicality at the catch point. I mean, look, I do think people are going to question the competition in the Mountain West. And I guess that's fair. He is coming off a injured year, so I don't know what that means for his draft capital. But what I will say is when I look at a player like this, I see some Rashee Rice, man, specifically after the catch. If you watch this guy, you'll see a dynamic, explosive player, but he's like a big body as well. I see some George Pickens, and George Pickens wasn't the route runner he is today when he came out of Georgia. He kind of grew into that, and I think we could see the same thing for Jalen Royals. I think he has a chance to go in round one. I do. I mean, right now he's a projected second round pick. That's a late second, early third. I think he has a legit chance to be a round one pick. And if he does, of course, we'll all be all in on him, I think. Like, for example, the Chargers would be a great fit. The Patriots would be a great fit early round two. If they don't go wide receiver in round one. The Saints, he'd be a perfect complement to Chris Olave. I'm a huge fan of his game. He's a developmental potential wide receiver one. If you're a big fan of just diving into a draft class and really understanding it well, our 2025 rookie report is available on the Flock Fantasy website. We break down every single prospect in depth, strength, weaknesses, potential team fits, film information as well. If that interests you, last year it was the most viewed draft guide in the industry. Then all you need to do is become a member with the promo code LAND on the Flock Fantasy website. If you become a yearly Mother Flocker member with our promo code LAND, not only will you get the rookie report, but also a team playbook. Let's get back to the video. All right, moving on, we've got a running back, another running back that I'm obsessed with. And, you're going to find that as a very common trend in this year's class. I talk about this year's class the same way I talked about the wide receiver class last year and saying that there are like 19 guys that could have legit roles in the NFL as a running back. I mean, my RB19 in this class, I think can be a serious contributor to an NFL backfield. It's so deep. And that's why you see so many guys who are saying, how could this guy not be on a certain list or whatever, right? But DJ Giddens, let me tell you, there is something special about DJ Giddens and nobody's talking about him. I can't for the life of me fathom why no one is. I don't get it. I mean, watching him in the open field is a piece of art. He is so fluid. Every step has purpose. He's great at breaking initial contact. I mean, he's definitely one of these turning lemons into lemonade type of backs. You guys know I love that. It doesn't matter if it's with strength or elusiveness. He's going to make the first man miss. He has a great production profile, over 1,000 rushing yards with pretty good efficiency in back-to-back seasons. In the last 2 years, over 40 receptions, 550 receiving yards. Initial burst is super special, especially given he has a running back body. He's 6'1", 212 pounds. He's still young. He'll be 21 years old at the time of the NFL draft. He's got that make your man miss ability, a nightmare to bring down in the open field. The juke, the hezzy, the jump cut, the spin move. I mean, that jump cut is actually nasty. Great size speed combo, and the analytical profile is super nice. I mean, we're talking about 6.4 yards per attempt. Over 4 yards after contact per attempt, which is 22nd best. He forced 51 missed tackles, 17th best. He had the 9th best breakaway percentage. I mean, the analytical profile is there. And look, I do think some people are going to say, well, he still needs development. That's okay. I mean, if you guys don't know, he actually had a late start in football. He did not play organized football until his sophomore season in high school. And that is why he wasn't this highly talked about recruit, because he was so raw. He was so green, so brand new to the game. I mean, no one was talking about him because he didn't play football until, mid of his high school career. I think he's special. I don't know why he's not getting more love. To me, There's like some Chuba Hubbard to his game. There's some Tony Pollard to his game. A little TJ Yeldon floor, Zach Moss floor. I think he has developmental star upside. Right now, you can see NFL Mock Draft Database has him as a 4th round pick projected, but you know, his season has pushed him up draft boards already. I think he could be a 3rd round pick. I love him with the Cowboys. I love him with the Vikings. Love him with the Chargers. I think he's a great fit for any one of those teams. I'm obsessed with him. I don't know why more people aren't, but now you know. All right. My 4th player I'll talk about today, my wide receiver 6 in this class. That is very high in this class. Jack Bech. Such a big fan of Jack Bech. If you love football, if you're a football guy, this guy does everything right. He is a glue guy, you know, one of the best guys in your locker room from day one. Big physical player with route running chops and some of the best hands in this class. He's a potential hidden gem waiting to be found. He had the best drop rate of anyone in the class at 1.9%. The man snags the ball out of the air. He's got like magnets on his hands, right? He's like catching the ball like with the magnet type of hands. It's very aggressive. I love to see it. This is not like another TCU wide receiver in the past who had issues with, you know, body catching. That's not what you're going to see with Jack Bech's film. Extremely versatile. Had, you know, a 2023 season where he played as a big slot, a 2024 season where he played as an outside wide receiver. Very tough to bring down in the open field. You know, yes, he is a big body at 6'2", 215, but he's like deceptively really smooth and elusive in the open field. Got a ton of strength, great yak threat, kind of like Puka Nacua. I mean, Puka Nacua is this bigger body. You don't expect him to be as dynamic after the catch or as good of a route runner as he is. Well, Jack Bech has those type of traits. Deceptively smooth on his routes. He's incredible in a zone coverage. He finds that cushion with ease. Again, like Puka Nacua does. That is my favorite ceiling comp for him. Again, range of outcomes here. Ceiling comp is Puka Nacua, Robert Woods. The floor is like a Tim Patrick, a more versatile Gabe Davis. Right now, NFL Mock Draft Database has him projected as a 6th round pick. That is absolute malarkey. There's no way this guy's a 6th round pick. I think he can be as early as a 2nd rounder. I really, really think that's a possibility. Transferred from LSU to TCU in 2023, and I think he easily would have been one of their best wide receivers this year. Over 1,000 yards this year, 9 touchdowns. Was a late breakout. Some people might still hold that against him, but I think the community has learned beyond that. That you don't have to be an early breakout to be successful in the NFL. I think that's a little bit silly. As far as like good team fits, I think you can put him anywhere. Like, honestly, I don't think there's a team that could not use a Jack Bech. I'll say there's a couple teams in particular, like, for example, the Chargers. I think he'd be a great fit there. The Saints as a number 2. The Raiders, if they're looking for a long-term development guy, I think he'd be a great fit for those teams. All right, my last player I'll talk about today is Jarquez Hunter. I have an honorable mention I'll mention at the end, but Jarquez Hunter. All right, Jarquez Hunter is a pack-a-punch running back that plays way above his weight. Anybody ever play Call of Duty Zombies out there? You know how you get the pack-a-punch? This is a pack-a-punch running back. He's listed at 5'10", 209. I don't think he's 209. I think he's 5'10", 200 pounds probably. But the man plays way above his weight. Super dynamic, explosive, one-on-one winner, tackle breaker, aerial threat. If an NFL team sees what I see, I think he has 3rd round upside. I really do. I mean, right now, he's projected to be an undrafted free agent. I call bullshit. I don't see how that's possible. This man in the SEC, all right, he put up over 1,000 yards, 7 yards per attempt. You're kidding me. There's no way that player goes undrafted. He had the 7th best yards per attempt. He had the 6th best yards after contact per attempt. I'm telling y'all, like, he's a break tackle machine. There's a little Austin Eckler. It's an Austin Eckler-like type of player. He had the 24th most missed tackles forced. He had almost a 50% breakaway percentage. 34.1% of his snaps he ran a receiving route. I call bullshit. There's no way this guy is undrafted. Super big fan of his game. Pound for pound might be a top 5 running back in college football this year. Here's the issue. He's a little bit undersized, and he also has 7 fumbles in 3 seasons. If anything's going to force this guy to go late in the NFL draft, it's the 7 fumbles in 3 seasons. Again, like I said, I see a little Austin Eckler. I think a floor comp is like Jaleel McLaughlin, Chase Edmonds coming out. I'm a huge fan of his games. I love him with like the Colts, the Commanders as an Eckler replacement long term. And I'll finish off the video with an honorable mention. That is RJ Harvey. I'm not going to talk about RJ Harvey in depth, but man, this guy is special. Used to be a quarterback actually, and he committed to the University of Virginia originally, and then he transferred to UCF, has had a couple really great years over there. He put up huge numbers this year, over 1,300 yards, almost 7 yards per attempt, 19 touchdowns, but he is a little bit undersized, 5'9", 208 pounds. You know, there's a little Kyron Williams there, Walmart Kyron Williams to his game. I am a fan of him. Reliable hands, legit receiving threat, quick feet and vision combo, great through contact. He's a bit of a liability in pass protection, so that concerns me a little bit with RJ Harvey, but currently projected to be a 5th round pick. I think he could land in the 5th round. I think that's a realistic outcome, but just want to show him some love as well. Appreciate you guys for watching the video. Do me a favor, hit that like button, show some love, subscribe if you like the content. Last thing I'll say is if you want a team playbook, very easy. 2 ways to get one. First way is by becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. You also get our 2025 rookie report when you become a member, by the way. The other option is regardless of what code you're on, you can go to the Flock Fantasy site through the a la carte, the Flock store. You can buy a team review from Zach and Badaki, DynastyLand. If you want a live team review, you don't just want the offline version, just get the live tier, which is $10 more. Appreciate y'all for watching the video. I'll see you guys soon in the new year. Nothing but love. Peace. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.